We have people waiting, so we got to start this thing. Hello, everybody. My name is Margaret Pinard. Thank you for stopping by my channel. You're on BookTube. And what are we here for today but an international panel of mystery? And thank you, Claire, for allowing us to say international. So we're also calling it the Misfit Toys because we've got unconventional authors that are doing cross-genre, multi-genre, doing their own thing, combining different businesses, all sorts of interesting hijinks, dare I call them. So I'm going to bring them on to say hello and get this party started. So why don't we start with JD?
The most talkative one. Greetings, fellow humans. My name is JD Estrada Writer. You can look for JD Estrada Writer everywhere. Well, not everywhere. I'm on TikTok, but I haven't uploaded anything yet because I'm old and I'm trying to adapt. I write urban fantasy, middle grade, nonfiction, poetry, and a partridge in a pear tree. I'm working on a couple of stuff that I will release when it's ready. No schedule this year.
Woo! I think that's called Going Commando. And let's welcome Claire.Elliot.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. My name is Claire. I'm on YouTube as Author.Elliot and on Instagram as Author.Elliot and Twitter as Elliot_author. So variations of that. I'm a graduate student and a writer aspiring to be traditionally published, and I'm currently in Paris, thus international panel.
Sweet. All right.
So she has the best bread out of all of us. Probably the one who has the best access to bread should be you.
Except I have celiac, and so I'm eating no bread.
Can you eat cheese?
I can eat cheese, and I can have hot chocolate, which, you know, chocolat chaud, goes pretty far.
Okay. Très bien, très bien. All right. Our last guest is Martha at Self-Righteousness, and we're going to pop her up to introduce her channel. Oh.
Hello.
There you go.
Hey, lovelies. I have done everything but climb up on the roof to try to get good signal, so I'm so sorry if I'm not here at some point. Hello, my name is Self-Righteousness, and I am feeling self-consciousness as much as anything. My Christian name is
Go ahead.
My Christian name is Martha Jones, which most people tell me is their least favorite Doctor Who companion.
And what is your pagan name then?
I'll get back to you. I might have to choose one out of a hat.
That always works.
Excellent choice. See, we're already in it with the unconventional opinions and lovely pagan vibes. Thank you, JD. Let's say hello to people in the chat. Jenna was here early. Excuse me. Devin was here representing. We've got Just Eva. Hello, hello. Stream hoppers and stream frogs. Lovely. Anita saying hello. Leo. Oh, I'm surprised Leo was up this early, so thank you, Leo. John is here to say howdy, howdy. JD's in the chat. Chat shark. That's a new thing. I'm just going to call it a chat shark. Here we go.
A chat, okay. I have a lot of toys and I actually don't have a shark. So
you calling old Eva. Oh, we have a Funko collection. Is that JD's?
That is my wife's. That is my wife's collection. My collection is actually in boxes, but I will be ringing up little Misfit toys while we chat.
We decided, Martha, that will be your voice if you pop out and we need you to answer a question.
Yes.
Hello, cool gamer. Just Eva. Claire is the main character of the draft I'm working on. Is this a sign to go back to my document? It may be. Not this Claire, just the same name, to be clear. Excellent. And Shannon was here. Hello, all. Running sprint still with my Discord group, but we'll catch the replay. Awesome. Make sure to like button. Gluten, allergic, and in France. Pain. Pun. She's got a pain pun. Oh, Jenna. Oh, boy.
Actually, could I ask a nosy France question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, apparently you cannot.
In the suspense.
You cannot ask the question, obviously.
All righty. Well, to highlight while we're waiting for Martha's question, or we're hanging on nails, let's start with these people's oeuvres. So we've heard about their YouTube channels and their social media handles. What about their oeuvres? Some of us are published, more published. I think JD is the extreme example here. He'll rattle off the number of titles he's at this point. But if you had to squish your oeuvre, which just means body of work, real and imagined or potential, down into one tagline, what would it be? So give us the feels. Give us like what you would boil it down to.
Ladies first.
Claire, if you want to go first.
Sure. So I am as of yet unpublished, so this is my imagined of, but I would say sneaky, badass ladies and like good vibes. I
badass ladies and good vibes. I love it. Okay, good.
I like I don't know. I like some sneaking around, some spying, some mischief. So.
Just put it in the chat. That's good.
Okay. Question from France before. Ah, man. Yeah. Okay. I have the Cheesecake Factory menu of, literary ideas that, if it's in season, I'm going to pull it up. And basically, anything ask the France question.
How expensive is bread? Because I heard that in Germany that it was that bread was incredibly cheap and good.
Yes, bread is not expensive. You can get like it depends how much you're getting at a time, but bread is like ubiquitous, cheap,
and good.
Yeah. And then there's like so you can get like pastries for like 50 cents too, like, so not just baguette and like bread things, but like bread adjacent things too.
Excellent.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay,
good luck finding gluten-free viennoiserie. Yeah. Go ahead, JD.
How about French hipsters? Do they have to pay eight pounds or
euros?
I was like, I'm blank. €8 for avocado toast.
The avocados are expensive. I'm not buying the avocado toast, so I don't know, but I assume eating out is more expensive. So like buying at a boulangerie, cheap. Eating out, not necessarily cheap.
Right.
So there's a difference there for anything.
Because it's a livable wage, perhaps? Because there's like labor laws in the EU.
There's no tipping, and also there's career waiters. So it's not like, a shitty job you do sometimes. It's like, that's your job. You show up every day, all day. You have a family. You have, benefits, all the stuff. So eating out, it's like a nice experience. It's not quite like the waiters are not trying to mooch. They just like do their job and they disappear. And sometimes you're like, excuse me, where are you? So it's a little bit of a different experience in that sense too.
Nice.
Okay, but sometimes some waiters expect like a good tip when they give bad service. My best friend used to be a waiter, and when I get good service, I tip well, because if I have the means, why not? Some people earn less than minimum wage, so what they earn is basically a tip. So I get that equation. But some people it's like, dude, you are toxic. It's like, can I sprinkle some ass on your salad, because it's like, dude, just.
But leave. I think like in the US, we get used to waiters being like overly nice because they want to be doing the good job. And so they're like, is there anything else I can do? Of course, my name is so-and-so. I'm going to be with you today. And in France, they're not doing that. They're like, what do you want?
It's like what they have to do to survive. Yeah.
It's like you get the job done, and that's it. And they're like going to do it. Like, they're not going to get it wrong. They know the menu, that kind of thing.
I love how we're on such a sidebar so early in the conversation.
Yeah, let's go back. We haven't finished our introductions or our of questions. So JD, why don't you?
Yes.
I said that it was the Cheesecake Factory menu of literary ideas. That basically, if it's my oeuvre, is that if it's in season in my brain and it feels good to release it, I will release it. Eventually, I do want to be traditionally published, so I can be a hybrid. But I do working in advertising. I've known to work on 15 accounts on one occasion. I don't recommend that. That was a really bad job a really long time ago. I did not last the year. I lasted 11 months. But since you have to work, I've worked from everything from, banking, consumer packaged goods, healthcare, cars, events, beer, alcohol, on one occasion, even prophylactics.
Hey,
so
serving the community, serving that community.
Since I have to touch on so many things, my literary taste in terms of what I publish reflects that. I've published a middle grade book that has zero violence, and I've published an urban fantasy that has gratuitous throat ripping and decapitation, because why not?
Because we're all trained by Sub-Zero at an early age, right?
That and many other things. I also read Hong Kong comics. The brand was called Jademan, and they were very graphic. And a lot of what I've gotten in terms of those details comes from those comics, because I was reading that when I was like 9, and I can remember one scene where a guy like rips someone's stomach out, kills him, and he was actually the brother of someone. And then he looks at his brother and he says, "Your brother tastes like veal." So yeah,
early horror. Excellent. All right, so we've got JD's. Martha, how about you? If you had to squish your real and imagined into a tagline. Bear with us, folks.
Let me answer. I want to answer.
All right. Yeah, Jenna's saying, "Get over here." I can totally do that voice, right?
Mom. Hi, is it still me?
Yep.
Immature charisma for not picky readers.
All right. I love it. Do you want to explain it all?
I started out in Snarky Vampires. I moved up to fantasy of a sort for people going through Terry Pratchett withdrawal, and now I am doing smutty fantasy critters under a different name.
Nice. I'm getting into that with one of the Blaze Boudoir. They have a once a month show about romance novels. So she's all about the alien erotica, I have to say.
Excellent.
Okay, so
better than dinosaur erotica, which was a thing like 2 years back.
You know, the dinosaur erotica is better than the unicorn erotica and better than the Bigfoot erotica.
I want a t-shirt that says that.
This is a rabbit hole that I have not gone down.
Yeah. All right. So we had Mr. Vlandis weighing in with Swords, Blood, and Decay, which I love as a tagline. We have Eva weighing in with her imagined tagline is deep themes and casual characters that make you feel things. I like that a lot. We're talking about the France conversation. I appreciated this, Mr. Vlandis. One of the reasons avocados are expensive right now, there's a conflict in Mexico between the farmers who own the land, the cartels, and the big box companies. There's been some fighting, which is terrible. Yeah, I actually just went down to California and came back, and I figured, well, they'll be less expensive in California. I'll bring back some avocados, and they were the exact same price. So I was like, I guess it's more of a global thing, not just an Oregon, like, proximity thing. So so thank you for that.
Globalization has spoiled us rotten.
Yeah. Well, California grows avocados. Like, we have 2 avocado trees in our backyard. They're just not producing yet.
Yeah. Later, you have to tell me which type of avocados, because in Puerto Rico we get like these gorgeous buttery pieces of heaven.
I bet you could have like a tasting menu of avocados.
How do you feel about plantains? I'm so sorry.
I'm Puerto Rican. I have plantains in so many ways that the question is, in which way do you mean? Plantains per se, I've known people who actually take a plantain and slice it and eat it, which I don't recommend because it's very starchy. Tostones, mofongo, chicharritas, arañitas, all of these are variations just for green plantain. If you have it ripened, which is in Puerto Rico is amarillo or plátano maduro, you can have like a bunch of other dishes. So it's a staple for me. And if people are like, "Oh my God, this is so exotic," and I'm like, that's my life.
This is like potatoes, people, right? Come to the table. Has anyone seen the TikTok clip that's about, or the Instagram reel, whichever way, that's about plantains and calories? You don't see this? Someone is like showing a picture of plantains and saying, and this contains 1,900 calories. And there's just like a Black woman who says, I did not need this. You did not need to inflict this violence on all the people in these countries. It's like, it's really, really funny. So what else do we have? JD with a question. Odd influences or Easter eggs you like to include in your work. Can we come back to that?
Yes, we can. I'm just dropping them in, and I said I was gonna deliver, so expect 2 more.
Okay. Fantasy with a dash of romance. Love it. Love it. Anita says, I once had a live panel conversation about Dino Erotica. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
And Mexico has a 3.8-ish billion export. Yeah, they're the powerhouse. So hopefully they have market power to negotiate and, kick the people who are hurting them out of the equation. But we'll see. Okay, and I actually had one for this. I thought of this ahead of time. Forgotten fights of the past to help us find our voices today. So that's my historical fiction twist on this tagline. Okay, next question. What's the most straight-laced piece of your body of work? Straight-laced. So we're going away from the Dino Erotica conversation. I wish Mama Maggie was here. She's got a lot of things to contribute in the range of fantasy.
In terms of straight-laced, my nonfiction work, because it's by definition it's straight-laced. A guide to creative, kindness, because people think that you can only be kind one way, and I wrote a book because I disagree with that statement.
I read it. It's good.
Makes you want to eat sushi and do some good, damn it.
Yeah.
I would say so as a student, I would say my master's thesis, pretty straight-laced piece of work, sort of aggressively straight-laced piece of work.
What's your master on?
I got my master's on Thai Buddhism. So my thesis looked at a group of Buddhist nuns in the north of Thailand and their connections with nuns and monks in Sri Lanka and the political circumstances that make them dependent on Sri Lankan monastics.
That is fascinating, especially because in one of my books has Sri Lanka, and Adam's foot is a figure in Sri Lanka, which is where supposedly Adam landed when he fell from the garden.
Right. So it's Adam's Peak, but it's also a Buddha footprint, and it's also a footprint of Abraham in the Mohammedan tradition. And so it's a really contested, so that's a major site that we study in religious studies in Sri Lanka, because it's a major contested site between the Buddhists, the Muslim, and the Christian missionaries. And because it's a Buddhist government, officially not separation of church and state, Buddhist country, although they pretend they're not. So the Buddhists have moved in, and there's all this politics about the infrastructure. So the building of a temple to claim what is essentially a shape in the rocks that looks vaguely like a footprint. So that's a great site. I could talk more about it, but
I'm blown away. How about Adam's Bridge?
I don't know about that one.
That is it is a natural land bridge that is shallow shoals that connect Sri Lanka to the mainland.
Oh, in the north, in Jaffna and stuff.
Northwest.
Yeah, I haven't studied that northern area. It's like a Hindu part of Sri Lanka, and because I study Buddhism, I just haven't done as much work in the far north of the country.
I'm gonna dig more into that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I was just reading on Libro.fm, the sweetest smelling audiobook purveyor in the world. I was reading Oak Flat by Lauren Redness, and she was talking about Oak Flat, which is it's federal land they're trying to save from copper mining in southeast Arizona. And someone was testifying to Congress saying Mount Sinai is an interfaith site that no one will develop because it's important to the Christian religion and other religions of the book. So this is our spiritual site, and that is the type of reverence you should approach this with. And if you do something to it, you can never repair it, So I thought that was bang on target. Yeah. Okay. Did I have an answer? Martha, did you have an answer for this straight-laced piece of work?
Probably the cookbook that I tell absolutely everyone not to buy.
But why not?
This is a good marketing strategy.
Well,
now I want it.
Astonishingly, it has been surprisingly effective. People think it's reverse psychology, I'm trying to cover up a good thing. The nicest thing I can say about it is, everything went wrong. The formatting was screwed up and the graphics, but it was a modicum of recipes and then cool historical stuff. I guess when the Dutch came up with donuts, and they moved through France. They became known as nun farts for a while, which was fascinating. So I got to put that in my cookbook as food for thought over on the other page.
Nice.
What's your favorite food?
de-
Nun farts. I just love warm,
de buns,
luscious,
really
tender nun farts.
They're like nunchucks, only different. I can't imagine how foolish it would be to die like that, but you know what? It would be the obituary would be a blast.
Oh man!
Yeah,
Wow.
I dunk my
Pictures.
nun farts in coffee. I will stop with the nun farts joke. Yeah, I just find it fascinating. Sorry.
Sweet.
You're welcome, internet.
Okay, then Martha, why don't you start with the most phantasmagorical on the other end of the spectrum? Nice to start here. Pick a monster, alien, whatever, what have you.
At this instant, I'm trying to figure out how to make Leprechaun sexy.
Oh, not horrific. Okay. Emmy Norris says the book sounds interesting. I have a fiction with food facts, so can relate. Nice. Nice to see Emmy. JD.
Between my fiction books, I think in Given to the daydreams are daydreams. Literally, it's supposed to be phantasmagorical and whimsical and random. But when I think of random characters, I often think of in Given to Fly. There's Noam the bookworm, which is a large bookworm that lives in a library and is based off Noam Chomsky. I watched like 3 documentaries so that I could get his cadence, and he's a fascinating guy. But you know, if you need to go to sleep, his voice is bang on.
Is it?
Yeah. So him, and also another one that a lot of characters in that story are influenced by people alive or dead. There's the Spider family. Boris the Spider is from a song from The Who. Natasha, he's the dad and he's a scientist. The mom, she's a musician and she's based on Natasha Spider, which is Natasha Schneider was keyboardist for Queens of the Stone Age, the band 11, and others and other bands like that. She died from breast cancer a couple of years ago. Just someone that I always found fascinating how she played live. And the daughter in that family is Charlotte from Charlotte's Web, so Charlotte Spider.
Wow. I'm just collecting all the like random things that I don't know about that y'all are talking about, because this is why it's Misfit Toys, because it's like fitting all these things into our fiction. It's great. What about you, Claire? What is something that's occurred to you, or maybe stuff you've got drafted? What is that?
That is Kevin from The Office with the chili.
Kevin? I don't even remember a Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh, The Office, not Office Space.
No, The Office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the most phantasmagorical part. I mean, it's an interesting question because I, as a graduate student, was a teaching assistant for a class called Gods, Ghosts, and Monsters, and we read a book called Phantasmagoria. So that's where my brain goes, and like the academic study of ghosts, which is fun, which is a thing I get to do. But I didn't produce that. I just got to read it and teach it. So I would say within my own work, there's a lot of ghosts, especially my current work in progress is set in a Southeast Asia inspired fantasy world. And the main character is like believes in ghosts and is constantly like attributing her good luck or bad luck and like to the spirits and things. So she's a really kind of fun character who's a little goofy and
very cool.
Cool.
In touch with the fantastic.
Very cool. With my most straight-laced piece of my body of work, so I'm going to say book number 4, Grasping Root, because this is in between 2 books that are more focused on love stories, and this is more about like search for justice and reputation and discrimination and stuff. There is some like matchmaking stuff as well, but it's not the focus. So I don't know. That's the best answer I could have. And the most phantasmagorical for me is the YA that I wrote that has time travel in it, because why not? All right, so we're going to pop over to Martha's question. Number 1, if you could have $1 million but never write again, would you take that offer?
No.
No.
Like never write anything, like even like a tweet?
I don't know. Martha,
Or like
that's a good question. If you could have $1 million but never write again, what level of never write again? Like, are your hands
like
chopped
can I
off or
write
what?
a to-do list, or like can I Can I tweet? Can I like, I don't know, text?
I guess write to feed your soul.
All right, so like noveling.
Yeah, novel,
No.
songs, poetry, that kind of thing.
Not worth the price.
If I could still do my academic writing, I would do it. If I
Okay.
couldn't do my academic writing, then I probably would not.
So you think like the intellectual stream is the same feeding for you as the creative stream?
I think that they're both creative streams. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Interesting. Martha just popped out.
Beyond hell no, I won't
Yeah.
elaborate. No, fuck that.
It's like Ariel's decision with the seashell and the voice, right? Like, what do you want that's good enough to erase your voice?
If I was Ariel, I would have picked up a fish.
I think that if I wanted to tell stories, I could tell them. Like I could speak them. I would like maybe try to develop like an oral history or like a podcast situation, like that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Getting around the rules is what you're doing.
Or like, you know, I could get into producing movies. Like there are other sort of creative storytelling things. I like photography. For the academic work, I can't really see a way to do that without like writing, and because that's like my profession, I wouldn't give that up. Yeah,
you pivot. Sounds good. Martha, what about you? You asked the question.
I would take the $1 million because I don't believe I can do good things for the world with my writing as much as I could with the money and deciding where it goes.
That's
That's
kind of
altruistic because that's denying yourself the pleasure of writing for doing good in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll keep writing and just try to earn money other ways. If I have to sell my body so I can help others, so be it. I will dance. I will strip dance for charity.
And that's how we got to Stripteasing with JD. I'm adding it to the list.
Of random stuff that happens in a conversation. Yeah. Well,
oh my goodness.
I showed my banana.
There you go.
I'm fond of bananas. They've become a bit of a thing on my channel.
Oh, well, maybe you need a surprise guest appearance then from the Banana Man himself.
I will have to check.
Anita was talking about, oh, you got 2 bananas. Nice. On the cookbook, Tasting History is a YouTube channel, I believe, that recently did a video on the donut history. Very cool. All right. What about, let's go to JD's question because Jenna answered it earlier. So odd influences or Easter eggs you like to include in your work. Do you want to elaborate on this? Oh, and that's cute. He's cute.
Because of Jenna's comment.
Okay. Explain the comment down here.
In terms of a lot of us include random little tidbits of stuff. I just mentioned 3 people that influence characters in my works. There's actually one scene in Only Human that is partially inspired by a Super Mario stage. If you're in the ghost level and you're walking and you're in the light, there are platforms that appear. But if you get out of the light, the platforms disappear and you drop off. So basically, there's a floating light in an area. And every time that light touches something, everything becomes alive. But as soon as the light leaves, it withers, because that scene actually takes place in purgatory. So there's a really odd influence and Easter egg that.
Okay, but what's the difference between an odd influence and an Easter egg? Because like.
No. I'm not saying a difference.
Okay.
Either or.
I'm just asking for examples. Got it. Okay, I was reading it wrong. So Jenna said there are more references for nerds to find in my first book than there are pages in the book. The last average count, there were 1.5 references per page, and books 2 and 3 didn't repeat. So it's basically like, what are some like little side eye things that you put in there because you want to find your people that will see it and appreciate it. Yeah, nice. I don't know that I have those in mind as much. Historical references
and every
if you're writing historical fiction, does that count as an Easter egg?
It could. A different type of, just because I do immature stuff or include song lyrics or people based off whatever doesn't mean that there's only one way to include an Easter egg.
I guess, but like for me, Easter egg is like a hidden thing, and if your like story is like not oblique at all, it's like, here, this is the historical, like then
Well, I mean, so if I put in something like a family that has a certain name of someone that is famous now, or if I put in like a song lyric that is something that people would know because someone took it up and put it in a different format today, like it's not really an Easter egg, but it is like if you're in the know, if you know, that kind of thing, you know?
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Okay, we got banana comments from Rachel, RK Stumbling Bear, and Jenna O'Malley. Banana phone, cheeseburger phone. We had a discussion about cheeseburger phone a while ago, and I'm not sure where that was. Joe is popping in to say good morning. Early for Joe, too. Banana popsucket, courtesy of JD's wife. Very cute. On brand. All right, what do we have? What's something that you put on your YouTube channel that doesn't show up in your work? And I'll start the answer this time, which is that most of the stuff on my YouTube channel does not appear in my work because the slice that's Authortube discussions with other historical fiction creators where I can actually talk about the stuff in the books is pretty small, like maybe like 7% of the channel. So most of it is talking about books, talking to other authors about craft, talking about events such as readathons. So yeah, so not a lot of it, but what about you guys? Is more balanced, more actually related?
Things that I do include in my Authortube account, or things that I do not.
That you include on YouTube that are not in your work.
I would say that my Authortube is like more experimental. Sometimes I do things that are just like kind of like games, or that I am or I talk about things that I'm considering because I think they're interesting in an analytical way, literary writing concepts. But when I'm writing my fiction, I'm like I'm very like genre fiction, like very mainstream, like YA girl boss adventure, like the nuances maybe not as present. Because my fiction is like the dumb fun stuff that I'm doing. But I do like to think about some of the more complicated theories, or like things like that are a little bit more literary. And then I'll do some experimenting for my Authortube account, but that's not necessarily going to show up like in my whip.
Nice. Yeah, you have you have, okay, so in the Authortube conversations, usually there's something about when people start out on Authortube, they have the same sort of writer advice videos, and I find that your writer advice videos are out of that mainstream. So you're really tackling things that other people have not, which is fascinating. So I love that.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I figured there is a lot of like advice that's like the basics, but then what? Like where's the masterclass conversations about like when things get complicated? And that's what I think is really fun. I think maybe because I'm in academia and I think like the tough stuff is fun, but so that's like a lot of the stuff I talk about in my, and I did a series of videos that took so much research, by the way, like really an inordinate amount of research about periods of art. About like what art, like what people thought about the meaning of art, like from like the 17th century to the present, like what was the purpose of art. And then, so I did a series on the history, and then I did a series where I tried to like embody that in like short pieces of work. And like that kind of thing is like a lot of what I really enjoy doing for Authortube. It's like a lot of research and then like experimental stuff, but like it's not gonna end up in my whip, which is very just like dumb girl does dumb thing.
Do you talk on your channel about the craft of nonfiction that's would maybe be a little foreign to somebody who specializes in nonfiction? I suppose I should watch the channel and then I would know these things.
I've made one video where I talked about the differences between sort of academic style writing and creative style writing. I don't know if it's really nonfiction, because there's creative nonfiction, which is very different from the academic work. So I've done more comparing between like academic and like creative stuff, things like form that are really different, and telling versus showing, like, the different principles. But I haven't done as much on that. I think so I'm starting my PhD in the fall. And I will be making more of those videos, to be sure, once I'm back in a program.
Weeds, getting into the weeds. Yes.
Yeah, I'll be assigning you guys reading. I'm thinking I might do a series at the end of each semester where I review like my readings from class, like things like that.
Nice.
I think I haven't included bananas in a story yet. That's about it. With the nonfiction, I cover a lot of ground, and I am working on my own version of writing advice, like the Unmaster class or the Unmaster whatever, because I'm just a dude that writes. But in terms of, it is true. In terms of other stuff, well, I haven't included a book tag in one of my books. It's like, yeah, it's a book tag.
Yeah.
God is merciful.
Anita has put Doctor Who, Supernatural, and Firefly Easter eggs in some of her books, and one of her characters is based on Pinky from Pinky and the Brain. That's pretty cool. Emmy saying writing content is difficult to film. It is not as visual. I think everyone has a mix. Yeah. This might not have been a well-planned question, but hey, I sent it out 3 times and no one stopped me, so.
I think that's an interesting question.
Jenna's saying I did some videos about my books last summer, example words or invented language and character name pronunciation or character videos, but they didn't do well. So to the bin, the ideas sit.
Screw that.
And
if you want to put out the idea, I'm of the, if it gets 18 views, but you enjoy doing it, it's a good investment of time. I always tell people, I don't have it handy, but I actually took a screenshot of one post that I did of an apple on a desk. And
yes,
it says this is.
Oh, I don't have my phone either.
Hashtag Apple.
Yeah.
That's all it says, and it has 31 likes and it has like 12 comments.
Right, and I did one inspired by that, which was a picture of the butter pig with no caption. same thing.
So
Yes.
I bust my balls with March with the Writers and with a lot of posts that I do. 20 likes, 30 likes, 40 likes. This was a good post and stuff like that. I'm not going to push it, and I'm not going to keep tweaking the hashtags. I just keep having fun. And hopefully if someone goes to my feed, they're going to go like, what else does this crazy bastard do? I think that's very on brand for me, for people to go like, what the fuck? There
you go. Joe saying, can't wait to read YA contemporary books where they reference TikTok or BookTok, not
I can
threw up in his mouth a little. Hey, no. TikTok is funny. That's where I found that plantain joke. And I will say they had a like advanced, evolved version of TikTok that was on Blood Like Magic and as part of their future, and it was really cool. So just keep your mind open, Joe. Just saying.
Well, someone's gonna base a character off Chupapi Muñaño and stuff like that. If you don't know what that is, don't look it up. It's gonna be an earworm, and you're gonna be thinking about that phrase, and then you're gonna be triply frustrated because you have the earworm and because this guy makes money off that bullshit. It's a guy with a PVC pipe. He sneaks up behind people and he just like screams in their ear.
Oh, okay.
And the guy's famous for that. And it's like, yes, what a contribution to the world.
That should stay on Vine. I'll just put that out there. Emmy saying, also on advice videos, there's not necessarily a right way. I love the V.E. Schwab series. There is no right way. Does she have a specific series about that? I follow her multiple places, but I'm not sure. I mean, this is something she says, but I don't know if there's a specific series. That'd be good to know. Rachel's laughing. Jenna says, that's what Butter Pig was about. I don't know. JD inspired me. And Jenna saying, Blood Like Magic. Jenna needs to read. She hasn't started yet.
It's a good book.
Very good.
I read it before I left the States. Now I gotta wait until I get back to read the sequel.
Blood Like Fate. I think it's coming out in a few months. So yeah, very exciting.
I know. I'm hoping it is not out too long before I get back to the US because I don't want to be like hearing about it.
Oh, spoilers. I think it'll be okay. Okay, next question. What are the ingredients for your ideal read right now? There you go. There's a light. There's a counter. I don't know.
You've got 33 likes and you have 9 comments.
There you go.
Some are yours, but still.
Yeah. Oh wait, I need to get back to Martha. There we go. Okay. I keep having to like remove the old one and put the new one in.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. It eventually disappears, but I don't know. I don't understand. Ideal read ingredients right now. And you couldn't prepare for this one because right now it could be different than last night. What you got? Claire, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna. While she has Wi-Fi.
Oh, Martha, go ahead.
Satisfying that doesn't necessarily have a happy ending.
All right. That's pretty general. That can be any genre.
Oh,
Great timing.
Got it out.
Good timing. Okay. Claire.
I thought about this when I read the list of questions, and I did plan my answer, but it has not changed. Which would be something that sparks joy. No. There is a quality of books and things that like have joy in them, and when you read them you feel that joy. And like so I watched all of Bridgerton yesterday, of course.
She picked Bridgerton! Okay, anyone else on the panel? Nope, I don't have access either. So, yeah.
And that is a show that like you can just, it's not just like the story and the plot, it's like how much fun the actors and the producers are having, like the way they use the music, the timing of the comebacks, like the witticisms, like, moments where you pause and just have to be like, oh my God, like ridiculous, but it's so fun. Brooklyn Nine-Nine has that like similar vibe where they're just like having a good time. It's not even that I like the plot necessarily. I like things that have good vibes, and like in books, I think House of This on the Cerulean Sea is sadder in some ways, but has a similar sort of like good vibes for me, like a touch of absurdism, like not taking itself too seriously, having fun. So that's, I think, what I would want right now. Something to spark joy.
Yeah, satisfaction, sparking joy. JD.
To me, depends on the time of day. At night, it has to be light, friendly. So if I dream with it, it will not be messed up.
That's true. Who else? Okay, that's a great question. Who else has night reading habits influenced by their dream? Like, because I do the same thing. I can't read like the heavy, violent, like nonfiction or whatever at night. Yeah.
So I have night reading habits that have nothing to do with nightmares. But I listen to audiobooks when I fall asleep, but I can't listen to books I've never read because like then I'll stay up and keep listening. And so I have started going through, and now I'm at a point where I will put on an audiobook in a language I do not speak.
Interesting.
To turn off my brain.
So that's kind of what my mom does. So she's like a night, she doesn't sleep well at night. So she ends up like sleeping in most of the morning, and that's her sleep. And so she puts podcasts on where it's like nature documentaries. So it's just like soothing voice that she doesn't really need to pay attention to. And yeah, same thing as listening in a different language, but
and during the day, I'm reading Summoner of Sleep by another indie author called A.I. Winters. And it's about not being able to sleep. So I can only read that during the day. And I'm reading a book on advertising called "Hey Whipple, Squeeze This." If you ever saw, there was a commercial from Charmin from the '60s that sold a lot of toilet paper, but it was a guy called Mr. Whipple, and he was telling women in a supermarket not to squeeze the toilet paper. And then when they left, he would squeeze the toilet paper.
He had a perverse proclivity for squeezing the toilet paper. And he always looked so terribly guilty.
Charming bathroom tissue.
Charmin. Interesting. Well, that comes from, I'm going to make a musical reference here if anyone's going to follow me down the rabbit hole. You mustn't squeeze a melon before you get the melon home. Anybody? From Guys and Dolls.
Oh, I was in Guys and Dolls. I should know this.
It's not that you watched it.
Very end of the show. Adelaide Sarah
Yeah.
conversation about marry the man today, and it's pretty hilarious.
No.
Okay, so let's catch up a bit here. Joe says, actually, in all seriousness, read a book about an IG influencer. It was my number one book of 2020. So, Ask No Stones, right?
There are some people putting good content out there, and that's actually functional. But there's other people that it's like you're a stain on the wall that really should be painted over.
Ooh.
Okay, where's Jenna's comment that said burn from much earlier? Jenna's also saying she finished by Like Magic before the live. Excellent. And regarding V.E. Schwab, it was an old videos on YouTube, Instagram, like loose interviews when Addie LaRue was coming out. Got it. Beginning of pandemic. Cool. I'll check that out. Joe saying kick the old one out first. I appreciate that. More good vibes recommendations. So Claire was giving like TV show recommendations, but maybe you can think of some books.
Yeah. I mentioned House in the Cerulean Sea is one. Good Omens is another one. Sometimes they have that kind of like wacky flavor.
The book is better than the TV show. The thing is that Good Omens, the parts that are with like the angels and
right.
Yeah, that part is made super well. But the part with the kids, they kind of slacked off on it. And in the book, those parts are brilliant. Like you know, some of the best. And in the series, like.
And then for me, I really like, like fantasies where the characters are competent, often have that kind of flavor for me. And so actually my main character is wildly incompetent, which is sort of like a play on that. But I think either way, just like when you have a character who's like all in, just like 100% in, there's often like joy there. And for me, the topic, there's a place where it gets like a little depressing, and so like those don't always spark joy just because like they're really well written, but they're like deep and passionate, and sometimes the sparking joy and the like deep soulful stuff are like not gonna vibe as well together. Like it's hard to do both. And right now I'm not in the mood for like deep soul stuff. Right now I'm in the mood for like more joyful. And so actually I would say a lot of debut author novels, a lot of debut fantasy novels have that for me because they're like the passion project. And so like going back in time too, I know that that's like a weird thing to call out like debut, but like a lot of times they have like I don't know, like almost like the author can't even believe they're going to be published. They're just like writing it.
Putting their truth out there.
Good vibes. If anyone hasn't read it, Ready Player One is fun. It has some 80s throwback stuff. I enjoyed it. Did not read Ready Player Two. Have seen people talk about it. I think that he shot his load, and I don't know if there's anything else left. Other people can confirm that. In terms of middle grade, just read Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. Going to read Mary Poppins. Have read Pippi Longstocking. Super fun and super sweet and endearing. The Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz books, some are great, some are not so great, but you would have to buy like a compendium of that. In terms of TV shows, we're watching Supermarket Sweep. I love Leslie Jones and the $100,000 Super Sweep. If you want something super light and super silly, we've been watching it. It's just fantastic. On Netflix, there's Waffles and Mochi. Waffles is like a little Yeti with waffle ears, and they teach you about cooking throughout the world. Super sweet. For video games, I recently reviewed on the Go Indie Now blog, Fresh Buttered Popcorn, Hoa. It's very short but very sweet, and I tend to be playing stuff like that, and there's a bunch of video games that I could recommend, but that would be like a whole other panel. So write me. Follow me at JD
Emmy mentioned, and I definitely agree that like things that verge on middle grade often have like the joy because they're not necessarily trying to talk about deeper topics, or if they do, it's not as overpowering the way it can be about later stuff. And it's like that those works are important and good also, but like sometimes I don't want to read something traumatizing. And so middle grade books are definitely a safe bet for that. And I enjoy returning to like favorite middle grades. One that I reread recently that has that as well, the Septimus Heap series. I was like obsessed with those as a kid. And they do stand up, I think, to time. I mean, they're middle grades, but they stand up to time, I think.
Cool deal. Just Eva's got an indie rec, The Ashport Archives by Stephanie Gillis, which is an urban fantasy with an ace lead and some fun original Phoenix lore. That sounds really cool. Jenna O'Malley is thinking of doing plot reviews of JRPG games, starting with Legend of Dragoon or Dragon. I'm not sure which one.
Dragoon.
Dragoon.
Or at least I've always read it as Dragoon.
Okay, Dragoon. So I would recommend to Jenna maybe go over to Fresh Buttered Popcorn and see if you want to like be a guest over there, because I hear they review indie games. Yeah.
The Keening.
The Keening? What?
Look at the comments.
Okay, so Joe saying Druid Air series, a paranormal urban fantasy series from NZ Nasur. Very funny, very lighthearted. Dragons, vampires, and were-pigeons. Wow. That's verging back into the alien rocket. Lovely. Eva saying Tumble in Blue, middle grade that I loved, has a bit of legend and some great character arcs. Excellent. Wow, we're getting great recs here. A lot of things that are subsets of RPGs, I'm guessing?
Japanese RPGs, and action RPGs.
Okay, thank you for the translation. Emmy saying there's contemporary MG, which can be heavier. Yep, like This Is My America. That's on my list. Oh, and Jenna's saying an indie rec is the Keening. It's cold and rainy for a car trip tomorrow, so I'm reading it. For a car trip? Ooh, reading the car! Oh, I can't do that.
I can't do. I can read in a train and a plane, but not in a car.
What's that Jenna saying? Are she talking about this book? Are you talking about this book right now?
That's so funny.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I decided I'd break them out for the day. I had an answer for this, which is my ingredients for the ideal read is emotional hook, so that gets me interested right away, because for some reason I'm just like, I'm reading so many books that are long and involved that I just want something that's like gets me right away. Plus a complex love interest, please. Plus witty banter, because I need that to keep me going. So that is what I'm looking for right now, if anyone wants to recommend something with those 3 ingredients. All right, second Martha question. Would you rather write a 5-star book that doesn't sell well or a 1-star book that sells like gangbusters? Martha, give us your take on this before you pop away.
I think I would like the 1-star book, gangbusters, because there is something to be said for infamy.
Infamy. All right. I think we'll go into piracy next, but yeah, go ahead. JD.
I write so, I want to publish so many things that I'll take a crappy 1-star book if it gets people to read the others. I will focus on the others, and I will do the hemorrhoidal literary book that gets me my first $1 million.
Yeah, I mean, when you say 1-star book, that means like an average. So like everyone thinks it's 1-star, but it's selling like gangbusters. That really doesn't make sense, because some people must be buying it.
Well, no, because there are books that sell solely for the fact that they are now the go-to hate reads, like
Anti-Racist Baby. That shot up to #1 on the charts after the confirmation hearing madness. I just tweeted about that too, by the way, in case anyone wants to see my hot take from earlier this morning. I thought, yeah.
I've seen headlines and I'm like, I just can't see the detail of this. There are so many, anything that's trending on Twitter, I don't want to know about.
If you want something good, look at Cory Booker's response during the confirmation hearings, because I just watched an interview of his with Jon Stewart as well, and I was like, wow, like Cory Booker. So like the heart. I think you would appreciate his response if you want to seek that out.
Okay.
Oh, so we've got an arc of this vicious grace. Who's that by?
That's it's by Emily Theed. So I read it. It's her debut novel, and I got an arc of it, and it was super fun. It's about this like girl who like is supposed to save her island, but every time she touches people, she kills them by accident. She's like not gonna save anyone. And it's a good time, and there's like these one-liners, and it's like that really for me it's like it's kind of, I mean, in some ways heavy because there's like doomsday arriving, a lot of pressure on her, but it's like fun and silly, and she has these like one-liners that are like so good.
Chef's kiss.
So,
I like it.
Yeah, like every once in a while, like it was for me it was like the one-liners that made the story like a good, compelling narrative into something that was like really fun.
Nice.
Because every once in a while you're like, damn.
Yeah. Nice.
Also, the Artemis Fowl series, I read several of those books. Those were fun, and the Bartemius trilogy. That's spectacular, and it doesn't get the love that I think that it deserves in terms of
Bartemius Crouch. Is there?
And no.
Why is that coming to mind? No. Okay, Bartemius. I'm not.
No,
familiar.
Barty Crouch is from Harry Potter.
Oh, okay.
Bartemius.
It's rattling around. I'll pick it out, put it in the
But
mirror,
no,
whatever.
that series is because it has to do with with jinns and genies, or however you want to pronounce it. But it has notes on several of the pages, and the banter that happens between the plot and the notes is spectacular.
Nice. That's sneaky. That's like an Easter egg side eye from the author. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, Bartemius. I'll look that up.
And it's light.
Okay. So we're getting in the last 5 minutes. I'm probably gonna go 10 minutes over if that's okay with you guys. We got 3 more questions. Why is what you write important to you at a cellular level? And people can respond in chat too, please.
I don't have a good answer for this because I like storytelling and it's hard to imagine not telling stories.
Good answer.
Go, Martha, while we have you.
The autonomy of the author is neat because there's so many awesome art forms that require teamwork. And if you're not a team player, but you badly want to, if you're the struggling director who is annoyed because you can't play all the parts yourself, the novelist is your
there you go.
Move.
Solid. Yeah.
In terms of me, I think that a lot of people live checklist lives in terms of what they want to do, or they're kind of two-dimensional and they limit themselves in so many ways. And part of what I do is try to push myself creatively to show that I can write this, I can write that, I can write that, I can write that. And one of my biggest influences in terms of how and what I write is actually David Bowie, because David Bowie played like a gamut of genres and musical styles and different stuff, but it always sounded like Bowie. And I always try to push that whatever that I publish, people read and they go like, that sounds and that is JD. So even if it's a 3-star book, if someone enjoyed it and whatnot, and they go like, that sounded and felt like him, I'm a happy guy.
Of the Bowie knife? No,
David Bowie. Now I'm gonna do a Bowie knife visual typo because of that. But the thing is that
there you go.
That would be a pun. That wouldn't be a typo. Damn. I'll give some thought later.
Okay, well maybe the pain and the pain, but maybe like that French one could be a visual typo. Rachel's saying, can't turn my story brain off. If I'm not consciously trying to put down a story, I will begin to daydream when I need to concentrate on other things. Right? I like that. Nia's here, Vixen of Fiction. Hello. And Emmy North saying, oh God, I think I would love a team. Haha, but no one as excited about characters called Cookie and Pink Legs. What? Okay, middle grade we need to hear about. Yes, I love it. That sounds really fun. And hold on, let me get to Martha. My answer to this question was why what I write is important to me at a cellular level. This is just the facts. This is not a moral statement, because using my voice and privilege is mixed up with worthiness for me. So there you go. That's why I feel like I have to keep writing. Who do you watch? What's that?
Because you owe it to the world?
Yes. Who do you watch?
That's cool.
Who do you watch and learn from in terms of authorcraft or YouTube funnies, etc.? This is time for shout outs and thank yous and all that stuff. Oh,
Pay.
He's here too.
Pay.
Hey, Pay's the answer to this question. And he has no idea what's going on. He's like, what?
in terms of a channel that I wish I could, the thing is that the effort that he puts into his videos is ridiculous. Always, every time that I queue up one of the videos, I'm like floored in terms of content, in terms of format, in terms of editing, in terms of a lot of stuff, and that it seems genuine. Some other people, I think I also watch stuff that I don't like just to see what I don't want to put out. But in terms of channels, he's one, and I am watching a bunch of masterclasses, and I'm watching different. Yes, I watched the Neil Gaiman one, and obviously there's a lot to learn from Neil in terms of how he does stuff and whatnot. But there's other people that I've watched. I watched the RuPaul masterclass, and there were some very interesting insights in terms of how to be a person. Robin Arson's masterclass was also pretty interesting. I know that I've been
Which
shitting
was the
on
last one?
Robin Arson. She's in Peloton.
Oh, okay.
The things that she did her masterclass while being pregnant. So, and I've who
Wow. What?
not getting pregnant. She's pregnant. So it's a
Yeah,
Peloton, whatever. And just watching different stuff. I watched a Timbaland masterclass just to see a different perspective and how his brain works. And it's stuff that not necessarily will resonate, but it's like when I read nonfiction and I read different stuff and science stuff and random stuff. There's stuff to glean from anything if you allow yourself to read and watch and listen to. And in terms of music, that's why I love listening to music from countries that I've never been to and I couldn't find it on a map.
Do you listen to it to fall asleep though?
No. Well, actually, some. Seguros would.
Oh.
And they actually do have an album that is for sleep.
That's Icelandic, right?
Yes. Yusum Na, she's a Korean singer. She's gorgeous voice. Would be very soothing. And there's a Japanese artist that I can't find on Tidal that I found on Spotify. I will write it in the chat while other people answer.
Okay. So less learning from and more like self-soothing with those answers. So how about you, Claire? Who do you watch and learn from?
I think like JD, I am looking at a broad range of sources and people and producers. On YouTube, I follow a lot of people who have small channels because I want to know what my peers are doing, and then I watch the bigger channels because that's how I found Authortube, and now I'm attached to them and I want to follow their journeys.
Yay!
And then so I do have masterclass. I watched a couple of those, but even more than masterclass, I took some classes with Grub Street, which is the organization that had that whole liver drama go down.
Yeah.
Kidney, whatever. It was kidney, not liver.
Yeah.
But anyway, beyond that drama, they teach classes.
And he's like, what the heck are you talking about? If you want to know, you can Google bad art friend. It was like a whole stramash, yeah.
But
anyway.
in 30 seconds, this woman.
No, I don't want to go.
You don't want to go into it? Okay, we won't go into it. Google a bad art friend. It's a funny story, but it just happened between a community of. It didn't really happen in the community. It was people who happened to be in Boston who were writers and therefore necessarily attached to this big writing group in Boston. But what's relevant for me is that they teach their classes online. And so I, from Paris, wanted to improve my craft and had free time last year. And so I took some of their classes online. And for me, taking professional classes and seeing how they were organized, and there were, because it was over the summer too, so there were some people who were professors coming in to teach online over the summer. And so the caliber of teaching and the things they were talking about was very different from what I'd seen on Authortube. And that has really affected the kinds of things that I'm thinking about for my fiction and also thinking about for my Authortube platform, because it was like vibing with sort of academic theory and like philosophies of character and I don't know, things like that I think are really interesting.
Very cool. Very cool. Who do you watch and learn from, Martha?
Probably Bernadette Banner. She watching her made me slow the heck down when I was speaking and not do this mumblecore nonsense that I was doing when I started out.
And we're back to Corset Core, just in case Joe was interested. Nice. Get her rest of her answer.
And I do occasionally mumblecore, and when I'm an excitable chap, and when I get excitable, I talk fast, and I speak even faster in Spanish, and people go like, "Dude, slow up."
Can I ask a Spanish question? Can I help?
Vas-y.
Do you have a favorite English word? Because I've long had a favorite Spanish word, and that is dedos de pies, because there are no toes. They are merely fingers of the foot.
Doigt du pied, same in French.
Oh, neat.
Yep.
That's amazing.
I think I really like the word aurora, because in English and Spanish it's said the same, and I just like the word and what it means and what it is and how it looks and how it even feels. It's just a good word.
And because you've always wanted to be the Disney princess. Fess up. Fess up.
Yes, they called her Aurora, for she filled their hearts with sunshine.
but not that Disney princess. I would have to think which Disney princess I could be.
Okay. Catching up in the chat here, Leo saying I totally resonate with Margaret's answer about needing to use my voice and privilege to make a difference. Yay! Thank you, Leo.
I would be Ariel when I would play with my dingle hopper.
Okay. Joe saying Sanderson's channel has been amazing to discover, but he doesn't need any more subs. So I'm going to say, go check out David Green, Anita Stewart, who's AF Stewart, and Madeline Dale's channels. I think she goes by Maddie Dale, or
She
her channel name right now.
She puts different names in different channels, and it's like, make
Okay.
it easy. I can vouch for Madeline and Anita. Anita's in the chat, and she's good people.
Nice.
Smart lass too. And she also designed some really pretty stuff.
Very cool. Very cool. My shout outs here. Who do I watch and learn from? Barrett Laurie. He's the one who got me, like, kicked my tail into action to do the, like, tags for videos and, like, really simple search stuff that I was not doing, where it was like kind of like bonehead, easy. Oh, cool.
That is from Anita. She has some really pretty designs.
Yes. Anita's Shaw. Kate and Katie. I don't know Elaine, I think, as much. I think that's the third person for Victober, but two of the creators that created Victober, and also Aoife from Words of Clover. So they run write-a-thons, and they're basically who I imprinted on in terms of, like, how do you get people excited about a thing? How do you get it organized so that people have points of contact that are appealing to different types of personalities? You know, if you have visual people, if you have audio people, if you have Instagram people, whatever. So that was great to learn from. Leslie Penelope is someone I found through the Black Authortube readathon, and love her fantasy romance, first of all, but also she is, like, going gangbusters on the hybrid author front in terms of marketing. So I'm very impressed, and I like listening to her podcasts, videos on YouTube, which are excellent and instructive. That's the word I'm looking for. Kim of Native Lady Book Warrior, who's, like, pulled back to vlogs, but also has fantastic content. And I will be catching up on her content soon because she does these, like, 40-minute, hour-long vlogs lately. And also Crooked Media, because that's where I get my news, and I'm not apologetic about it. I learn a lot about the world through them, so can't be mad at that.
No.
We've got a question from Emmy North, and then my final question. What's the biggest thing that helped you elevate your craft overall?
That's a great question. I can't wait to hear you guys' answers.
Um,
I'm gonna take notes.
do we accept adult language?
Yeah. This is my channel. This is my channel.
Fucking up. But by doing a proper fuck up and getting called on it or something, you learn a lot of things. First off, that you won't die from fucking up. Second off, you learn the lesson and you keep an eye out for that mistake. You know, committing 1,000 mistakes is fine. It's not fine. It's not ideal, but it's fine. Committing one mistake 1,000 times is dismal. So as long as you learn from it, and there have been so many things that I've learned from. First thing that I learned, don't wait till you finish your book that you're handwriting to start transcribing. It took me a year. It took me a year to transcribe 6 notebooks into
Is
this.
this the only human? Yeah.
Okay, listen to this. I wrote this by hand. I wrote that by hand, and then I was transcribing. And another thing that I learned from that process in terms of outlining, as I'm transcribing, as I'm editing, suddenly I realized that something that happens in chapter 26 does not mesh well with something that happens in chapter 40.
Mm.
So it's just you keep an eye out for that, and that was a mistake. And again, no one died, nothing happened. You learned the lesson, and you keep on trucking. And another thing is to not be afraid to ask people. I've done events in different places. People say, "Oh, how did you get that?" And I'm like, I went to the store manager and I asked if I could do an event. That's pretty much it.
Ask. Anyone else want to take this question?
Go ahead, Martha, sorry.
It's okay. I found that getting over myself and realizing that longstanding publishing traditions are there for a reason. Like, nobody wants to read my 10,000 word fairy tale. I really need to make it shorter and make it longer. Was actually super helpful because it helped me develop and figure out how to go through the proper channels to get my story told.
Interesting. Really cool.
For me, I think progress has been, it was a very fast sort of going from novice to like intermediate, or what I consider to have been intermediate, happened very quickly. I felt like there was a lot I could absorb very fast by just like a concerted effort of like watching a lot of YouTube and masterclass and finding free resources online. And I signed up for a couple paid classes, which I think sped up my journey because I had feedback from a teacher, but I don't think you would need to do that. I think you could, if you were more self-directed than I, find all those resources for free online somewhere. But I think that after that, what has helped me the most is having CPs that I really, really trust, that I admire, who do not pull punches, and who are willing not just to like read my stuff and give feedback, but to have like a hour-long conversation about what is not working and like to pull it apart together. And for me, that has really, 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 I think, helped me. I felt like I had plateaued. Now I'm not taking as many classes. I'm definitely not paying for classes because I feel like there's a point now where it's becoming repetitive, and I'm only getting that higher stuff when I'm in a deep discussion with people that I think are talented and smart.
Great answer. Yeah, because the solitary exercise of writing can only go up so far on your own, and then you need to cross and connect to like raise the bar. I feel like that's good. We're ready for last question. We're like 13 minutes over. What's the thing that you're really proud of creating right now? And I'll end this one. So,
as in a work in progress or something that we already created?
Either one.
I read 300 pages. I read 300 pages of Sherlock Holmes, and I wanted to read 0 pages of Sherlock Holmes. So.
Because you're incorporating it into a work, or?
I got a request from Nihilist Geek and Margaret Pinard to do a video on Sherlock Holmes by himself, and I hate him so very much.
Okay, so you're very proud of forcing yourself to do something for a YouTube video. I don't know if that's moving in the right direction, Martha.
Hey, if that's what brings you pride, okay.
Okay.
It requires maybe a lot of effort, you know.
If I say I'm proud of my work, then somebody's going to read that and say, why?
Oh no.
Claire?
Okay.
I am proud of finishing my first WIP. I don't think it's ever going to see the light of day, but I learned a lot from it, and I'm really proud of myself for doing it. And in some ways, I think the first one was the hardest because I didn't know if I could do it. And now I know I can write some, you know, I don't want to go. I've done some revision. It's like not the worst, but it's like not where I want it to be if I was going to like push it out. So I'm putting it away, but I'm really proud of it in the sense that like I did the thing, and I'm going to do it again. So.
I'm proud that I am two things, that I'm finishing a horror short story collection in Spanish, that I will be publishing more in Spanish. It's something that I've been meaning to do for a hell of a long time. And I'm also proud that in terms of projects that I had ongoing, I said I'm not going to finish them right now because I had to take care of business in terms of other stuff. Some people keep hustling and pushing, going for it and grinding. And I made a very conscious decision of saying, no, this will be done when it's done. I'm doing this to enjoy myself. And I want people to get the best of me. And if I push for a release date, they're not going to get the best of me. When I get a traditionally published contract or something, I'll worry about deadlines there. For now, I am the master of my own boat, and I needed to stop at an island.
An island. perhaps called Puerto Rico next month.
2 weeks. 2
weeks.
weeks.
That's next month. That's April.
Sure.
All right, we've got Eva saying she's proud of Martha for hanging in with us here. Very, very thankful.
Yeah.
Eva saying the index. So this is bookendlane.com.org, her website where she has an indie author index. I'm also equally insecure over it for writing. My contemporary inspired by real events is what I expect to be most proud of upon completion. Excellent. Devin Cutting, delightful, is here with the playlists of, I don't know, the century. They do playlists for sprints for Authortube and most comprehensive ever. So if you're looking for a buddy, definitely link up and check out Devin's playlists every day if you're ready to log on. And my answer for this one is going to help us close out. So right now, I am proud of the fact that I am creating space for transition and limbo and the vacuum of judgment. I recently had a thought of, the phrase nature abhors a vacuum. I thought I might do like a thing about Margaret abhors a vacuum because like I didn't want to get in this like space where I don't know what I'm doing and like what to call it or how to explain my life to people. And the past 2 years has been like piecing together things that I enjoy and that I'm good at and that I'm learning and like creating community around that and just being okay with saying, I don't know what I am. Doesn't matter. Like this is limbo. This is a vacuum and I'm going to be okay with it. So that's a victory for me. Also creating this channel space for readers and writers and also asking for support on Patreon. So that's how we're going to end this by saying, I have a new writer tier. If anyone is interested, we're going to be doing little mastermind groups. First one in April on a Saturday, TBD. And basically just offering help, the kind of stuff I do on Sundays. And yeah, it's going to be cool. Instead of like paying a big consultant to like go over your manuscript or give you marketing advice or like pay for publicity, it's like $10 and you get to talk to other writers. So that is my plug that I'm not going to be ashamed of doing.
No, there's not time to be money.
Exactly. So,
and thank you to Margaret for organizing and hosting. This was really fun to chat and to see some faces I had never seen before. So
yeah,
good to meet you guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll wrap up with that. Thank you all for coming and events to come. I mean, I have the StreamYard tutorial tomorrow. Do you guys have anything coming up you want to like pop out there or put in the comments?
In an effort to finish my new whip, I am live streaming writing Mondays and Tuesdays for the next 2 weeks, and then seeing how those go, I may be continuing to do that in the future. So
Mondays and Tuesdays. All right.
I'm finishing March of the Writers. If anyone is curious about that, look for that hashtag on Insta, Twitter, and Facebook. I haven't caught up with everyone because a couple of people have posted a lot of things, and I'm still catching up on my post. But it's been a lot of fun, and hey, why not? And people connect, so that's cool.
All right. Martha, last parting shot, thing that's coming up you want to shout out?
Not really. Kindness is good. I think we should do more of that. And if you feel like putting good energy in the atmosphere for Ukraine and parts abroad, that'll probably bring down the price of avocados for us.
All right. Well, thank you all for your witty banter. It's what I needed this morning. And thanks for coming to watch and have a great weekend. Bye, everybody. Happy writing.